Okay. I'm like scared. Hey guys, welcome back to Was That TMI? Hey guys. Hey y'all. Hey everyone. I don't know what I normally say. I don't know if this was the longest break the podcast has had. I think it's definitely top 2, if not number 1. I didn't entail this happening. Is that the right word? We're already back to being a mess. I didn't plan to go off the podcast for that long. It kind of just always happens that way, as you guys know. A lot has been going on in my life, in my mind, and in my heart, and it's not going to be that serious of an episode. If anything, I think it's going to be positive and maybe, I hope, influential. And I've just had like a different perspective on life in general and my career and other people's lives recently. So yeah, I have kind of just taken a mini break from like a lot. Sorry, my neighbor was pulling into her driveway. I'm at my parents' house, literally parked out front in the woods. I'm actually, if you're watching on visual, in a bikini and a little sundress right now. You know, when those days where you're like a mess, but you feel put together? Like, you know, when you're cleaning your room and maybe you have on like some cute black yoga pants and like a little tight tank and your hair's in a messy bun and you have on some like blue light glasses or like some little readers. And you're like, oh my God, I'm such a mess. But really, you're like, no, I look good. That's how I felt in this outfit. Sorry to get really off topic really quickly. But I had this like white fox cheetah print bikini on and this little sundress from Spencer Barbossa's, I think, H&M line. And I was like, wait, yeah, low-key, I'm like, slang. We're back to normal already. What I'm saying, though, is just, I think realistically, the word I'm about to use might be a little bit scary in the brand of Was That TMI, but also a good thing. I think we are maturing. I think we're maturing. And I think that for years, I've thought I was really mature. And I realize even now at the age of 22, you know what, aging is a beautiful thing. It means you're living a long life, or you're living life, and it's actually something to celebrate every year because you have another year on earth, and we should all be grateful for that. Getting old doesn't have to be scary. And 22, 23, 24, hell, if you're below 30, you're young. If you're 30, you're young. I asked my mom today, Mom, when did you have your first child, who's my older brother, who's about 2 years older than me? And she was 30. She was like, your dad and I were married for 5 years before we had any kids. And I was like, what? I didn't even know that. Like, I got plenty of time in the back of my mind. What? I fear we are maturing, though, in a lot of ways of my life, and I do feel like I have grown up quicker than maybe people my age. I don't want to say that and sound like a pick-me or sound rude, but personally and like honestly, I think my life would have been so completely different if I didn't do social media. And with that being said, I don't know if I would have went and partied at college for 4 years. I really don't. I have a very controlling mindset, and I have a very fear future mindset. I have that, and I'm trying to work on it because I do not want to live my life that way. And I feel like recently I've been going through a very like almost anxious period of my life, and I'm kind of getting to a point where I'm like, you know what? That's not how I'm going to live anymore. And I think in order to not live that way, I have to keep my focus on the right things and mature in areas that I didn't realize I needed to. But we're going to get into all of that. And if you're someone who relates or who feels lost or lonely at times, or like you have no idea what you're doing, or maybe you don't have a lot of friends, or you don't know if you picked the wrong career or the wrong major in college or the wrong boyfriend. Maybe you're going through an engagement breakup or a friendship breakup, or maybe you just are bored and you're listening to this. I genuinely think today's episode will be very relatable to a lot of people, and that's what this podcast has always been to me, and it's what it's supposed to be. So we're going to get into all of it right now. Okay, the first thing I'm going to talk about is something that I know most of you know. I'm not trying to say this in a way to brag or anything. I feel like a lot of you know me pretty well. I genuinely forget that the podcast is a thing. And before I even get into this, honestly, well, actually, no, let me go ahead and tell you. Was That TMI has never been monetized. And that's something I've spoken about on here multiple times. I do not make money from this podcast other than YouTube revenue, which, yes, obviously, I mean, realistically, I can tell you exactly what it is right now. I haven't posted in a month or two, so it's been a break, but because I want to keep things just so transparent. In the past month, my estimated revenue on Was That TMI was $84. Okay, in the past 365 days on Was That TMI YouTube, I made $6,000. So obviously that's still like, I know to some people they're like, wow, like that's still cool for just like a little hobby. And genuinely I do see Was That TMI as like a little hobby to me. I don't consider this a job. Yes, I consider it, I guess, a part of my career and a part of what I do, but the podcast to me has always been something that hasn't felt like a money avenue for me. With that being said, I kind of was to a point at the beginning of the year where I was like, you know what? I think taking Was That TMI to a network could be something to look into, because I've had the podcast for years. I think it could grow into something bigger, and I think that there's more opportunity in the podcasting world that I'm not really exploring. So I kind of want to see where that could go. Looked into that a little bit, and straight up with y'all, I got a pretty good offer for Was That TMI. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but I had an offer from a company, and it was to basically bring Was That TMI there. There would be kind of like restrictions of when I post. It's like any like deal you're signing with, like, it's similar to almost even like a brand sponsorship. Like when I do brand sponsorships, they're like, we're going to pay you X amount of dollars and you're going to post X, Y, and Z. We have to approve it. It was kind of like that. Other than with podcasts, it's a little bit different, because I guess with podcasts, you have like IP addresses and who owns it, and you have all this other stuff that goes into it. Whatever. Anyways, what the heck? I get the offer. I'm like, okay, wow, that's crazy. I had no idea anyone would even give me that type of offer for my podcast, because like I said, to me, the podcast is very much just like a hobby. It's a place where it started off as me telling stories that maybe you guys hadn't heard from me. I've obviously, since I was, I mean, maybe you're new here, so maybe not obviously, but since I was a child, have been literally, I have posted every single day on social media since I was like 16 years old, even before that. And I just feel like the podcast was somewhere where I wanted to talk about things I didn't talk about, get more deep into like story times and entertaining things, but then also a relatability factor of, oh, this was actually what I went through growing up, or hey, this is what I'm going through right now in my life, and maybe you relate to it. And it's whenever I meet someone and they're like, I listened to your podcast, I forget that I even have a podcast. And then I'm like, wow, I understand now why sometimes when I meet you guys, I feel like I know you. Like when I meet y'all and I talk to you guys and you guys know me or listen to this, we immediately can just talk because you guys do know me in a way. Like people always say that, oh, people are weird with social media people, like you don't actually know them. But in a way, social media has kind of turned into a place where you can really get to know someone. You can get to know people's lives and their families and their husband's name and their kid's name and their brother's name. Like it's just such a more vulnerable place now. I think that serves good and bad. But going back to the offer, I get the offer and I kind of sat with it. And realistically, it wasn't something that I thought was worth it, just because I felt like, one, you can get legal advice from people. They're going to give you their 2 cents. With that, I took their advice. But before I even spoke to like legal and stuff, I seriously was sitting with myself and my mother. My mom's my soulmate, guys. I swear to God. Like, that woman, appreciation to all moms out there who try to love and are good moms, because moms are actually like literally the biggest blessing in the world. But I spoke to my mom about it and I was just like, I don't want to monetize something I love so it can turn into something I hate. And I feel like a lot of social media was my not social media, creating was my passion. I get high off of creativity. Like, I am kind of a nerd, realistically. Like, I genuinely am a little bit of a nerd, and I like to write. I like to like tell stories through film. There is a side of me that like genuinely that's where my passion is. And I don't know if my passion is necessarily doing a podcast and talking about my life, but the love I've received from it and the way I've been able to connect with it and the way I've been able to be brought to people through it, that's a passion of mine. So what TMI led me to, the purpose I feel like it has given me, and I've been able, like, I feel so blessed to have a community that comes here and listens to me speak about nonsense or even just things that I'm going through. Like, I feel so incredibly grateful. And I was just like, I can't give up another thing I love and I'm passionate about for money. So I turned down the offer. It was brought up in many conversations. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Yes, I don't want to do it. It was like a pretty much hard no for me. I just felt something in my gut telling me not to do it. During this time, I had just moved home from being in South Florida. It's about a 9-hour hike from where I was living to my parents in Florida. Florida's a big state, y'all. I know I explain it every single time I talk about Florida, but I know if there's anyone new listening or anything like that, people are always so confused by where I live. So to all TMI listeners, I live in the state of Florida. That's most likely not going to change for a while. And if it does, you will be hearing about it. But I go back and forth from South Florida. It's like 2 hours north of Miami to North Florida, and I'm literally 30 minutes away from Alabama. So my parents live literally by the state line of Alabama and Florida. I live, when I'm not with them, all the way down in South Florida near Miami. But at the time when I turned down this offer, I had just gone back in with my parents and I didn't have any plan of leaving. I didn't really know where I wanted to go. I'm a very up in the air person at all times, just because I do feel like I'm young. I do feel like I can take my job anywhere I want. There's people all over the world. Like, I want to meet people. I want to experience things, but I am a lover girl at heart. And with that lover girl, I don't even mean just like relationship. I mean just like family and relaxing time. Like, I wouldn't say a homebody, but I like my little community and I'm good with my little community, and I can hop out of there a few times and travel, but community and people are like everything to me. So being home with my family, it's hard because I love them so much and I want to be with them all the time, but they kind of live in the middle of nowhere. There's not much going on around them. Yes, I can travel on the weekends if I want, but realistically, it's a little bit of a high and low lifestyle when you are living in the middle of nowhere and then you travel out and you go somewhere that's more populated and there's more stuff going on, and then you come back to the deadness. You're kind of like, wait, I low-key feel like my life is like this. It's so up and down. And that's personally why I do live far from them and I live down in South Florida, because I feel like there's a lot that goes on down there. And I don't know why, I swear like God calls me to this town in South Florida. Like, it's so weird. But even this past summer when my lease ended, I didn't want to leave because I was like, I feel like I'm closest with God here because I'm alone a lot. I'm alone most of the time I'm down there, and I spend a lot of my days literally on the beach. Like, I'm outside all the time, and being in nature and just outside is my favorite thing in the world. Like, I will be outside all day. Even at my parents', I've been picking up golf, believe it or not. And I do it because I get to go outside. I was back at my parents' and I didn't have a new place yet, like that I knew I wanted to move to. I had just turned down this podcast offer. I was kind of talking to this guy. I don't know what it was about this guy, guys, but literally, once again, just this like gut feeling pit in my stomach of like, no, you like this shouldn't be a thing. You shouldn't be talking to this person. Not in a way of like they were a great person and it actually has nothing to do with them, but like literally in my mind I was just like, I don't know why, but like I'm supposed to be alone and single right now. And y'all know me, I've been single for like over like 2 years now, and I feel like every part of me would be like so excited and eager about meeting my person that I feel like, oh, that's finally out of the way, thank God. But just something inside of me was just like, no, like you're not actually not even ready for it yet, and you need to be alone. I don't know what it was. I would literally one day, sorry, this guy, like if he's listening, he's gonna hate me for talking about it, but sorry, buddy, it's okay. You'll live. Love ya. But like one day I'd be talking to him, I'm like, wow, like I'm literally in love with this man, I'm gonna marry him. And then the next day I'd wake up and I would be like, wait, I'm like not, I don't know why, but this is too serious for me. Maybe it's self-sabotage, I don't know, but I just really felt like I just have so much faith, guys. I have so much faith that God is gonna put me in the right direction and positions, and I've really, really been reading my Bible every single day, and I've been praying a lot, and I just feel like when your gut is telling you something and you pray about it, I've truly never really, that I can remember, I think, heard God's voice in my head, but I do feel like, I know he points at me sometimes and he gives me signs and he speaks to me through the Bible, and I feel like he speaks to me through other people sometimes, and I just always try and like listen to my gut and listen to him and look for the signs he's giving me. And like I said, whenever, even though sometimes I don't want to follow those signs, I do it. Like that guy I was talking to, I was like, I don't know why my brain won't let this go. Like, why can't I just be chill and not so serious about this? Like, it's not this big of a deal. But something in my head was just like, no, you can't be talking to this guy. It was so weird. But I listened to my gut, cut that off. Whatever, we're still friends. It's like not that big of a deal. But I then had an agent who I had been working with for a little bit, and that relationship ended. So I was genuinely at my parents', 22 years old. It was my birthday. I just turned 22, and I was like, what the heck am I doing? What am I doing? So what did I do? I decided I was going to fill up my month with a bunch of plans and go bebop around, because life is short and you can't be thinking about all that stuff when you're going places. And I feel like I travel places a lot with the intent of like, you never know who you could meet, which I think is a good thing. But I went up to Alabama. It was my birthday weekend. I turned 22, August 21st, Leo. Went up there. It was actually my friend Alyssa's birthday. They all go to Alabama. I got to see like Tyler, all the TikTok boys, who I always have so much fun with them. I tell you guys, they're like my family. They're like my brothers. A lot of us are like so different, but truly, like if any one of those boys or girls called me, I would go and be there for them in a heartbeat. I love those kids. So was up in Bama. The first night I went out, I don't even know how it happened. But I was literally just drinking mom waters. And then I think because it was like our birthdays, people were like giving us a lot of shots or whatever. So we're drinking a lot. And finally I'm just sitting there at the bar and I was like, I gotta go home. I got an Uber, a few people came with, and then I got home, immediately went upstairs, was sick by the toilet, and when I was sitting there, I literally like almost had a coming to, and I was like sober for a second. I was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? And I know we all have those nights where we drink too much, like it's a thing, but I was just like, I like don't need this. Like, this isn't like I slipped up and I drank too much. I mean, it kind of was, but also I was like, no, sometimes when I am out, I am like, all right, I'm having a lot of conversations right now. Like I'm getting stressed out. I just want to like get another drink. Let me just get another drink. And it's never like for people that sometimes comment and are like, you're an alcoholic. Clearly you've never seen an alcoholic in your life, because I grew up with alcoholics in my life, and I would never let alcohol. And I know some people, it is a sickness. It's a true sickness. And I pray for people out there who struggle with it. But like, I think when you grow up around it, you will never let yourself get to that. Or at least you like pray and hope and strive to never let yourself to get to that. So I've never really like abused alcohol in the sense of where I like wake up and I'm drinking it. But I did start drinking at a young age. And I feel like alcohol was very normalized in my life. And like, not my parents just handing me alcohol and being like, here, you can drink underage. No. But like where I grew up, and I'm sure for a lot of you guys listening that are older, maybe not, but I would say probably 90%, this generation below me, they're like not drinkers. They're not. I feel like our generation, like we were drinkers, and I just feel like growing up, like drinking at 14, obviously, like I said, my parents didn't know, but that was like, I was doing that. And then at like 16, drinking a lot. And I'm like, looking back, oh my God, I'm going to be the strictest mom ever. Like I actually already kind of feel bad for my kids, because my parents, like I said, they didn't know. I hid things from them, but knowing that I was doing that, I'm like, and I feel like the generation above us probably did it too, because I've talked to my mom about it before, and she was like, oh my gosh, like our parents, we didn't have phones growing up, so our parents had no freaking idea what we were doing. And I'm like, dang, that's so true. But like I said, I feel like alcohol, like kids my age were just drinking so young, and then it got normalized, and then people went to college, and when you go to college, drinking's a big thing. Not for everyone, but I would say like a lot of the South is party schools. That's like what you do at these schools. Same with like, I'm sure Northern and like Western colleges. But I feel like drinking just became a very normal part of my life, and I never saw it as weird. Like I never saw it as like, oh, this is like I'm like kind of poisoning myself a lot. Like that's the scary part of alcohol. And it's so normalized everywhere, and I think like I'm not against having a drink. Like I am not against it at all. You guys know that, and I'm not trying to be someone who comes on here and is like, I'm done drinking, because that would be called lying. I just think that happened in Alabama, and then I came home and FSU played the next weekend. They were playing Alabama at FSU. Went to the game with my whole family, and once again, I didn't mean to, but I literally blacked out. I blacked out like middle of the freaking football game, and I was with my family, and like I know it's because I didn't eat anything all day, but that night when I wound up getting home, I was so sick. Like I don't think I've ever been that sick from alcohol, other than probably when I was like 16 drinking in my friends' basements. But I was so sick, and I was just like throwing up all night long, and realistically, like I wasn't acting crazy or doing anything I shouldn't have been doing. Like I honestly, it's sad to say, and like I don't even like really talking about it, because I think blacking out, I'm not gonna lie, like I don't know if it's my frontal lobe is fully here, but blacking out's like embarrassing to me now. Like I literally the next day was like, I'm so embarrassed. But what I was gonna say is like, when I do drink too much, knock on wood, it's never really an issue, because I actually just act sober. Like if you see me and you're like, oh, you were really messed up, like then I was really messed up, because a lot of the times I'll tell people like I don't remember anything, and they're like, you acted completely normal. But that happened at FSU, and I was just like, I'm done. Like I was like, I am done with this. Like I don't feel good about it. It makes me anxious. I'm done. And at this time, whenever I'm home with my family, I feel like I try to continue like being close with the Lord, because it's not something that I just do when I'm alone because I'm alone. Like I try and continue it even when I am around people. And I've been reading my Bible a lot. And I literally, guys, I'm telling you, it took me 2-3 years to get through Genesis, because I would always read a little bit and then I would start over, and then I would read a little bit and I would start over, because I'd be like, okay, I want to try and like really remember all of this. Got through Genesis, got through Exodus, if that's the next one. Guys, I didn't even know the Bible was a story. I had no idea like the Lord brought us out of Egypt, like Israel out of Egypt, I had no idea. I did not know the Bible was a story. When people were like, what chapter are you in? I didn't know what that meant. I legit had no clue. Like, I grew up going to church every once in a while, but not a lot. I always knew who God was. I always believed in God, but I had no idea, like, until probably I was like 18, that like Jesus actually died on the cross. Like, I thought that was just like something that was said. I didn't know that that actually happened. And so now that I'm reading the Bible, I'm like actually trying to follow along with the story. And people have been asking me a lot, like, how do you do this? Whatever. And I don't know like what flipped in me, but just the more you read and the deeper in you get, the easier it is to understand. I take like a little like pen/marker and I just underline like everything that's basically a part of the story. So if it's like Moses told them that X, Y, and Z, I'll like make sure I underline that, because then I can kind of like go through the pages and like read what I'm underlining and figure out where I am. But it's crazy how much of it you can apply to your everyday life. And it's crazy how like straightforward the Bible is. Like, there is just so many things that like last night I'm in Deuteronomy. I don't know if that's how you say it, y'all. I'm telling you, I'm really like, I didn't know about this stuff. So I'm in this like chapter of it. It's basically like Numbers, but like Moses is like restating Numbers. And if you're not a Bible junkie, guys, we're going to start doing Bible time on here. I'm telling you, because it's actually so interesting. It's interesting. Like, I haven't even read other books recently because I'm like, I'm actually more interested in reading the Bible. But like the other night, it might've been last night, it was literally like just a saying, like, we live in a crooked world, and if you do not follow my commands and if you do not listen to the things I tell you, you're going to struggle and you're going to be full of like weariness, and you're going to have like a longing eye and all of this stuff, and you're going to be filled with like anxiousness. And it's so true, because I feel like that is what I have been living in, and that it's almost what I live in and have lived in my whole entire life, is like fearing future. I literally have a fear future mind, and I don't come off as anxious because I do try and appreciate every day, and I try and have gratitude for every day and for the little things. But like, I'm just so over living in the fear of what's to come. And if you just live by the way that God wants us to, and if you live by practicing gratitude and by not like I said, I'm not trying to sit here and preach to you guys, because I am just a human being that's like literally trying to take in this knowledge and be like, whoa, this is actually like helping me. But if it helps me, I know it will help others. And that's why I kind of want to start talking about it on here. But I've been getting really into that. I decided to do Sober September. I was like, I'm not going to drink it all. Low-key might break that this weekend. Maybe not, because like, here's my thing. I genuinely am telling you guys, and you guys might laugh at me and be like, Sadie, I don't know. And I can't make this promise, but I don't know if I will ever black out again, because genuinely the past 2 times I was like, it's not even like I wake up super hungover, or it's not even like I'm dreading throwing up so much. I'm like, I can take that like a champ. I hate to sound like that, but I can. It's more so I'm just like, what am I doing? What am I doing? This is literally such a waste. This is so stupid. I'm a bubbly person. I am not scared of crowds. I can go out and talk to anyone. I don't need alcohol. I don't need it. It's like, yes, I think alcohol in moderation and every once in a while, cool, have a few drinks, but I'm just like, I don't need it. The same way I don't need cottage cheese, but I love it. Guys, I got to cut out cottage cheese because I had this really bad hormonal acne, and I think it's low key from dairy, and I eat cottage cheese, guys, literally every day when I wake up. Sorry, that went really off topic, but I was thinking about that when I was thinking about cutting stuff out of my life that I don't need. And oh, I love that cottage cheese. Let me tell you, good culture. Can you sponsor us? Sorry, I got really off topic. People listening on audio are probably like, where the hell did that just go? Okay, but anyways, something also with the fear future mindset is I never let myself feel accomplishments. Guys, I'm not going to sit here and try and be like, I've done this, this, and this. And like, yeah, I'm that bitch. But what I will say is, for my age, the things that I wanted to do in life, I've done a lot of them. And I cannot remember one time where I genuinely sat there like, good job, Sadie. Like, wow, feel proud instead of feeling like there's more to do. I always feel like there's more I should be doing. Always. Always, always, always. And I think that's another thing that, like, the Bible and being close with Jesus and trying to pray and learn more about him and learn more about the way that he tells us to live to literally help us. I feel like I it's helped me with that because I'm like, whoa, slow down, like chill out. Me even like, I don't know if you guys are aware, but I have like this self-tan business, Sunkissed by Sadie. And like when I did it, I was just like, sick. We got to do more. We got to do one next. Like I just feel like I've always held myself to a very like, I just never have felt like super proud of myself. The one thing I did like feel really awesome about because I liked it was my 1 million documentary. But like even the deal that came in for Was That TMI, I was just like, so what? Like, I know that sounds crazy, but I was just like, who even cares? And I think I'm not someone who really like gets super hyped up about like materialistic things and all of that. Yes, obviously, like I've been very blessed with my career and like being able to make an income at a young age. I am very grateful for it, but I do think God gave me a lot of stuff at a young age because I was a sad kid. I was a lonely kid. I literally thought, oh, only this is going to fix my problem. And I do feel like God tried to give me those things and help me accomplish those things I wanted to accomplish to then go, why do you feel like you're at rock bottom, babe? Because you need me. Like, genuinely, it's crazy. Like I saw this interview with Julianne Hough the other day, and she was like, I was someone who got everything I wanted at a pretty young age in life, and then it all got taken away from me. She was like, it made me realize what's important, and that's like your loved ones and family. And I don't know the exact interview and if she said exactly that. Life is not all about money and materialistic things. I think accomplishments that like I need to feel proud of is like, as stupid as it sounds, getting up and working out and then going somewhere and maybe you throw someone a compliment. Like, okay, you're like spreading a little bit of joy throughout your day. Like you're sprinkling a little bit of happiness in the world. And just like someone once told me it's about the little wins. Someone is in my ex situationship. But like it's true. It is about the little wins because every day is a blessing and we're not supposed to think about tomorrow. We're not supposed to think about yesterday. We're supposed to think about today because you really never know when your last day is going to be. And I've been trying to do that recently. I don't know. I know I'm just like saying a bunch of like stuff right now. But I'm just trying to do what feels right. Whoa, that's so crazy. I literally looked down. Here's the Bible quote I had written down. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. And it's true. Like trying to just live in the moment and live each day as each day will give you so much peace of mind. I know that can't be said about everything because I know people are sitting there and they're thinking about money coming in and they're thinking about everything they have to do and cleaning the house and finishing your to-do list and getting ready for your next adventure or whatever. Much as I don't portray this as a job and I would never tell someone my job is hard, I will say, like right now I don't have an agent. I don't have money coming in from like brand deals and I haven't actually in a little while. And I'm not complaining about that. But I think about things too. Like I sit there and I think about like, what if this doesn't work for me? Like what's going to happen when this gets to a point where I can no longer make money from it? You do have to kind of think about it logistically. And it's funny because I'll talk to other like, I guess, creators or like influencers and they say the same thing. They're like, oh, I worry about it all the time. I always am worried about it. And I think a big part of it is because there is a lot of unknown in this career choice. But I think another part of it is just like, we could all think that. We could all think, what happens if I go into work tomorrow and they go, hey, we had to lay off 50 people, so you're cut. Like, you really never know. And that's why I think this verse is like so special because if you're constantly worried about that and you have the fear future mindset, you're always just going to be anxious. The next verse I have written down is trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him and he will make your path straight. Kind of what I was touching on in the beginning. I just feel like sometimes I have these gut feelings and I'm like, wait, whoa. I want this though. Like, why is my gut telling me this? I want this and I don't know why I feel like it doesn't feel right. But when you pray about things and you ask God for like direction, he will give it to you. He will show it to you. And I just feel like you have to listen to it because his plans are so much better than yours. And I feel like even with like passing up on the opportunity of the podcast, I was like, was that a mistake? Like I genuinely started thinking about that just these past months at my parents. And like I said, I haven't had an agent. I haven't had brand deals coming in. And I kind of was like, was that like a mistake to turn down that money? Like that probably would have given me peace of mind, but I'm like, no, because it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. And when something doesn't feel right, there's a reason behind it that maybe you don't understand at the moment, but you will at some point, or maybe you never will. But I do think a lot of things come full circle and make sense with time. The last one I wrote, cast all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. And I do think doing that helps a lot as well. Just like giving your worriness, giving your anxiousness to the Lord. I did hear this quote though, and it kind of sent like a bit of a fire up my butt. It was, is that how you would say that? I make really weird analogies sometimes. I don't even know if analogies is what that is, but I heard this quote and it was like, we are here on earth to share the love of Christ and to share him with other people and talk about him with other people and like basically share his word. We're not here just for God to help us. And I was like, whoa. It's crazy, y'all, because once you start diving into this stuff, a lot of stuff in your mind will change, but it's for a better reason. And like, I'm not going to turn this into a Girls Gone Bible podcast. I'm not. But I just think that I want to be able to talk about this stuff with you guys. And I understand that someone might be listening and might be like, I literally don't believe in God. Like what? Or like, I don't know why she's rambling on about that. And I think the hardest thing for me for a while with my relationship with the Lord was I would meet a lot of people who didn't believe in God. And everyone has their own choice in life. Everyone has had a different life. I would never judge someone for saying that, for saying I don't believe in God, or for saying I don't have a relationship with God, because I have no idea how they grew up, or I have no idea why their reasoning may be. But I would get in situations where I would say something about God, or even like I've always worn a cross necklace. This one was gifted. But people would be like, well, why do you believe in God? Like people who didn't believe in God, well, why do you believe in God? And I'd be like, I knew I did. I knew I wholeheartedly could sit there and say, I 100% know he's real, but I wouldn't know what to say. I would be like, I don't know. I just kind of have like this faith. Like I have faith and I feel like he's real and he's helped me through dark times. But reading the Bible and reading stories and knowing how much peace of mind living a life for God and following his rules and cutting out things that you know he wouldn't love or stand by, when it makes you less anxious and makes you feel a peaceful state of mind and it makes you want to be a better person, I'm like, that's what this world needs and should be about, being better people. Like, who doesn't want to be a better person? Who doesn't want to grow? Who doesn't want to, like, be like sunshine? Like, that is how I view people sometimes when I meet them and they're so close with the Lord and have so much faith. They're like sunshine. And it's like, who doesn't want to be that way? Who doesn't want to try, and like we all are going to have our faults. We all will the rest of our lives. That's how it's going to go. We all sin. We all do things we shouldn't. We're all going to have times where we're sad or we're worried about tomorrow, or we feel alone and we feel like the world sucks and we're, complaining about this and that. But realistically, when we all come to those points where we think, I need help, I need someone, I can't feel this anymore, I feel alone, or I feel purposeless, we're going to find God. And if you don't, I'm here to tell you, finding him and even downloading a little Bible verse like app on your phone and looking at Bible verses and just maybe listening to a podcast about him, it helps. It helps. And I hate to end this really abruptly, but I totally forgot I have a meeting I have to get on, and your girl right now is like slightly unemployed, so I do have to go take that meeting. But I love you guys so much, and I'm so glad to be back with you. I promise it will not be 30 days. It won't be 60 days. It won't be 14 days. I will be back sooner than that. And I love you. I love you. I love you. And I pray for you guys every night. And you're all so special and unique. And the most important thing you can be is yourself. Love you. Bye.